coming out. We've got new Fossil Dinosaur, and I'm actually kind of curious to see how good this new boss monster will be for the Fossil archetype. And then on top of that, we've got new support for something I think a lot of people have been fans of, and that is the Jinzo archetype that never really took off. There's a lot of cool Jinzo cards, but other than like Future Fusion and summon multiple Jinzos for an OTK, it really didn't see too much play. But that said, let's go ahead and check out some of the newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards. So we're going to be first checking out, most of the stuff should be from the fossils. By the way, this is going to be coming out in Collection Pack 2020, so it's going to be some like special thing. Anyways, the first card that we're going to be taking a look at is the Fluorescent Knight, which is level 4 Rock Earth effect monster with 2000 attack, 1200 defense points. It says you can use the first effect with this card's name only once per turn. If this card is sent to the graveyard by a card effect, or if this card is destroyed by battle, you get to add from your deck to your hand either one Fossil Fusion or one card that specifically lists Fossil Fusion in its deck, except for Weathering Soldier. Once per turn. By the way, Weathering Soldier is this card. It's just the name, I guess. Anyways, once per turn your end phase, this card loses 600 attack. Okay, it doesn't really matter because more than likely you're going to go ahead and use that effect to go ahead and fusion up. Next up, we have the Mesozoic Fossil Knight Skull Knight / 4K Media Fossil Warrior Skull Knight. Okay, I think this is like the different translation for it. Whatever. Fossil Warrior Skull Knight is probably the actual name. But anyways, level 6 Earth Rock Fusion effect monster with 2400 attack, 1100 defense points, and its materials are 1 rock monster plus 1 level 5 or 6 monster. Which could be pretty good maybe for like a super poly target. You know, you just use one of your opponent's stuff, right? Must be first special with a Fossil Fusion, and you can use the third effect with this card's name only once per turn. Oh, never mind, scrap that idea. Anyways, if it attacks its defense position, you get to do piercing battle damage. And then the second effect is when this attacking card destroys a monster by battle, you can activate this effect. This card can attack once again in a row. And then the third effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard, target a monster on the field, and destroy that monster. Okay, I like that other effect. It's kind of nice. It just has a lot of decent stuff. Except for like piercing, I just feel like is almost irrelevant. Except for like when you give it to the Superconductor Tyranno boss. Anyways, next up we have I'm gonna look at the 4K Media name because again I think this is what it's going to be called anyway. So Fossil Warrior is guess what they're calling the archetype. The Skull Bone over here. So it is a level 4 Rock Fusion effect monster with 2000 attack and 800 defense points. And it says the materials are 1 rock monster and 1 level 4 lower monster. It must be first be special summon with Fossil Fusion. You can use the second effect with this card's name only once per turn. The first effect is this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase. The second effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard and add 1 time stream from your deck to your hand. Next up, we have the Fossil Dragon Yugioh. So this is the, I want to say it's the boss monster because it's a level 8 Earth Rock Fusion effect monster with 3,500 attack, 0 defense points, and its materials are 1 rock monster plus 1 level 7 or higher monster in your opponent's graveyard. Okay, that's interesting. It must be first special summon with Fossil Fusion. If the card battles an opponent's monster before damage calculation, you can switch the current attack and defense of that opponent's monster until the end of the damage sub. Oh, that's kind of cool. You can basically run over. Most of the things that have insane attack can have really low defense, and if it does piercing, it does do piercing too. And you can maybe you go for that Windstorm of Atakwa OTK, double any battle damage your opponent takes from battles involving their monster and this fusion summon card. Wow, so it already has insane attack, doubling it and doing piercing. I think people will be definitely trying to pull off some cool OTKs. It does require a rock, which I don't think you're going to be really using in like the generic dinosaur deck, but it does kind of support that OTK playstyle. I mean, you flip everything face down right with the other dinosaur, and if you're going to be doing massive amounts of piercing, that's going to be pretty good. Next up though, they've got another fusion monster. It's a Fossil Dragon Skullguard, and he's going to be a level 4 Earth Rock Fusion effect monster, and its attack is 2,500, 0 defense, and its fusion materials are 1 rock monster plus 1 level 4 or lower monster in your opponent's graveyard. And it says that it must first be special summon with Fossil Fusion. You can use the second effect with this card's name only once per turn. The first part of the effect actually says that if this card attacks a defense position monster, you get to do piercing. The second effect is you can banish this card from your graveyard to add a Fossil Fusion from your deck to your hand. Alright, and Time Stream. Okay, this is another card that you can add. Normal spell card that says target one Fossil Fusion monster you control. Tribute that monster. If you do special summon from your extra deck one Fossil Fusion monster that is 2 levels higher than the tribute monster's original level. This is treated as Fusion Summon with Fossil Fusion. The second part of it says during your main phase, except the turn this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish both this card and one Fossil Fusion from your graveyard and target a Fossil Fusion monster in your graveyard and special summon it. Okay, no restriction on what it is. Obviously it has to be a Fossil Fusion, but as long as this card can be like summoned, this card could be really good because it only must be first special summoned with it. So that could be quite great. Next up, we have Specimen Inspection over here, which is a normal spell card. It says you can activate one card with this card's name per turn. Reveal a Fossil Fusion in your hand to send one monster from your hand to the graveyard. If you do declare a one monster type and a level, and if you do that, your opponent sends one monster from the declared type and level from their hand or deck to the graveyard, if any. Okay, so you can force them to go ahead and send something, so you can utilize that ability to fusion with it. And then we have Miracle Rupture over here, which is a normal spell card that says you can activate only one card with this card's name per turn. The first effect says send one level 4 or lower rock monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then, if Fossil Fusion is your graveyard, draw one card. I mean, this effect is already pretty good. It's just foolish for any potential other deck that may make use out of that. But I'm really excited about the Jinzo stuff, but there's actually a lot more newer Yu-Gi-Oh cards. But I want to check out the Jinzo stuff, and of course that artwork is too cool, man. But anyways, next up we have the Menacing Android. Oh, it's called... Never mind, the official, I'm guessing the name in the TCG over here is the Menacing Jinzo, which is going to be a level 7 Dark Machine effect monster with 2400 attack and 1500 defense points. And it says you can use each effect amongst the first and second effects with this card's name only once per turn. If either player possesses a trap or traps on the field or in their graveyards, you could just special summon this card from your hand, but its level becomes 6 for the rest of the turn. The second effect is during either player's main phase. As a quick effect, you can tribute this card as special one Jinzo from your hand or graveyard. Then you can look at all spells and traps your opponent controls and destroy all traps among them. Wow. I mean, trap cards already don't see that much play. That's a pretty easy effect to summon it. I mean, if they literally go in permanence, okay, cool. I get out this card, which potentially gets me a Jinzo, but at the end of the day, is it actually going to be that meta? I don't really think so. But I think it's a cool idea. But let's go and check out the other support because maybe it'll make more sense of it. Next up, we have the Psycho Bounder, which is going to be a level 4 light machine effect monster with 1700 attack and 1000 defense points. And it says that you can use each effect amongst the first and second effects with this card's name only once per turn. The first effect is if this card is normal or special summon, you get to add a Jinzo or one spell/trap that specifically lists Jinzo in its text from your deck to your hand. The second part of it says, if another monster you control is attacked by an opponent's monster before damage calculation, you can destroy both the attacking monster and this card. Alright, next up we have the Psycho Gigacyper. Well, it's called Psycho. I don't know if this is considered a Jinzo card because this is called the Menacing Jinzo, but I think Psycho might be considered Jinzo. I'm not, again, positive on that. This one also says Psycho, so maybe not. Again, I'm just trying to put 2 and 2 together because it's supposed to be new Jinzo stuff. Next up though, Psycho Gigacyber, level 6 Dark Machine effect monster, 2200 attack, 1200 defense points, and it says you can special summon a card with this card's name using the way it's written. Its first effect only once per turn. It says you can use the second effect with this card's name only once per turn. Okay, so everything once per turn. The first effect is if your opponent controls more cards that are spells or traps than you do, you can just special summon this card from your hand. The second effect is when this card declares an attack on an opponent's effect monster, while you control a Jinzo, you contribute this card to place that opponent's monster face up in your opponent's spell and trap, so as a continuous... Wait, what? That is wild! That's so cool! So I can go ahead and convert his card to a continuous trap, which is actually pretty good, because if you think about it, banishing sometimes lets the monster do something, sometimes going to the graveyard does something when it's... That's really cool. I like that. It does tribute this card, but it just locks it down as a trap. I like that. That is a really cool mechanic. Let me know, guys, what you think about that. That's awesome. But the real funny part is when someone does this and the guy goes, I'm a tribute and go for my Araya. That would be like the ultimate Yu-Gi-Oh anime like status where he traps all his monsters in traps and he's like, oh, it doesn't even matter. But that's a really like new effect. I don't think that there's anything that lets us put our opponent's cards as continuous traps or spells in the game. That's cool. Anyways, next up we have Law of the Cosmos, which is a normal spell card. It says you can only activate one card with this card's name per turn. The first effect is your opponent can set one trap directly from their hand or deck, and if they do, special summon one Jinzo from your deck. And if they do not, add one Jinzo on one monster that specifically lists Jinzo in its text from your deck to your hand. Okay, I feel like it should have done another effect first off, and then the bonus effect was if your opponent doesn't set one, then you get another effect, because your opponent is just going to be like, okay, I'm not going to set one, you get to add Jinzo, okay. But if they do set one, then, I mean, it doesn't really matter either way. I feel like it should have been like, your opponent actually might want to go ahead and set one, and like there's no like risk that factor that I would have liked with that. But nonetheless, we got more cards. In Touch with the Cosmos, continuous spell card that says you can use each effect among the first and second effects with this card's name only once per turn. The first effect is you can send it to the graveyard one monster you control that is owned by your opponent. Special summon one machine monster from your hand or graveyard. During your opponent's draw phase, when they conducted their normal draw while you control Jinzo, you can declare a card type. Monster, spell, or trap. Look at the drawn cards. The declared type is among them. Send this card to the graveyard, and if you do that, draw one card. Wait, what? I mean, I like this effect over here, but the fact that, like, you send this card to the graveyard, and then draw a separate card. It would have made more sense if they lose that card. I guess you already get that ability. I mean, it's once you control is owned by your opponent. So I get to, if I'm reading this right, you control this is owned by your opponent. So I'd have to mind control them, and then maybe another card will make sense of this. Okay, these are, by the way, these are just reprints of the other cards, which doesn't really matter too much. I'm not sure if I understand how this card actually works that would make it actually good, because again, I would have to mind control, then activate this, which then gets me another monster, and then I guess I get to draw like a card. If it made them lose the card, I guess you get to see what the card is too, because if it's a trap, it's pretty much worthless when you have, of course, Jinzo anyway, so you would just call monster or spell, and then you get to draw one. It should have been like you get to take the card or something. It could have been a lot better, is what I think. Let me know, guys, what you think of the Jinzo stuff, but we still have more cards, guys. So we're not done with the Adamantium deck. I'm just gonna call it Adamantia, because that's what it's like same thing with Needle Fiber, but anyways, normal spell card for the rest of the turn. After this card resolves, you can't spell summon monsters except for rock monsters. Also, activate cards from the top of your deck equal to the number of rock monsters you control plus 5. And if you do, you can add to your hand one activated rock monster whose level is lower than or equal to the number of cards activated. Also, place the rest in the bottom of your deck in anti-art. That's an insane effect. That goes through so many cards. Obviously, there's that downside that makes the deck not able to play like crazy with like insane turn 1 plays, but if there's better rock stuff, man, maybe it could be very viable. But oh my gosh, guys, we still have more cards from the pack over here. I'm not sure if this one's a newer card or a reprint, but I'm just gonna read it just in case. I actually don't remember the Flower Guardians, like all of them. So yeah, anyways, Flower Guardian Cherry Blossom, level 3 Dark Warrior effect monster. Someone let me know, by the way, if this is a new card or not, because there are new cards in here. It's just not positive this one's a newer one. Anyways, level 3 Dark Warrior effect monster, 100. If you control level 2 or lower Flower Guardian monster, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you cannot normal or special summon monster for the rest of the turn except for Flower Guardian monsters. Once per turn, you can contribute a Flower Guardian monster to draw one card. If you do, show it. Then, if it's a Flower Guardian monster, take one Flower Guardian monster from your deck except for Flower Guardian Cherry Blossom and either add it to your hand or special summon it, otherwise send it to the graveyard. Next up, we have Super All In. Alright, this definitely is a new card. Normal spell card, return one synchro monster you control the extra deck. And if you do, special summon 4 Guardian monsters from your graveyard, then draw one card from your deck, and if you do, reveal it. Then if it's a Flower Guardian monster, you can special summon it, ignoring its summoning conditions. Otherwise, destroy as many monsters you control as possible, and if you do, half your life points. Wow, that is definitely all in. Once per turn during the end phase, discards in your graveyard because it's sent there by a Flower Guardian monster's effect this turn, you can add a spell trap from your graveyard to your hand. Now, that's a pretty crazy card. I like it, dude. That is definitely all in. But next up, we have the new Glacial Beast. So Glacial Beast, Blizzard Wolf. Isn't there a Blizzard Dragon? I wonder if they're related. Anyways, level 4 Water Aqua effect monster, 1400 attack, 700 defense points. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn each. First effect is when a monster declares attack, you can negate that attack if you do special summon one level 4 or lower water monster from your hand except for itself. The second part, at the start of your opponent's battle phase, you control no monsters in this card's grave rating, you special summon this card in attack position, but banish if it leaves the field. Oh, interesting. Glacial Beast Polar Penguin. Level 3 Water Aqua Tuner effect monster, 800, 1000 defense. You can only use one of the first and second effects of this card's name per turn, only once that turn. If this card is special summon, you can target one monster your opponent controls and return to the hand. Wow, that's a pretty good effect. If this card in the field is destroyed by battle by card effect, you can target one card your opponent controls and return it to the hand. I like that first effect. I'm going to try to think of how we can just special summon this little guy over here. And then next up we have the Glacial Beast Iceberg Narwhal. So this is their boss monster, it looks like. Level 7, Water Aqua Synchro Effect monster, 2700 attack, 1600 defense points. Materials 1 tune-up plus 1 plus non-tune-up water monsters. It says you can only use the second effect of this card's name once per turn. The first effect is each time another monster or monsters you control is destroyed by battle with an opponent's attacking monster or by an opponent's card effect, inflict 600 damage to your opponent. During the battle phase, when your opponent activates a card or effect while you control another monster, as a quick effect, you get to negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card. Alright, so that's a quite a bit amount of newer cards. Let me know, guys, what you think is good. I feel like the Glacial Beast, a little bit weak right now. Obviously, this card is amazing for the Adamantia. And the Jinzo stuff, I want to say it's kind of weak. I was hoping it would be a lot better, but at the end of the day, these fossils are kind of looking a little bit interesting. I'm waiting to see what else we can go ahead and do with them. But obviously, they're going to get a lot more support, hopefully, very soon. Let me know, guys, down below in the comment section below what you thought of them. And hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. If you're new here and you want to see gameplay, we'll get gameplay of these guys very soon. Well, except for the Ice Beast, because I feel like the Glacial Beast, they need a lot more support to make them viable. Same thing with Jinzo, but we'll try to make a scuff deck. I know with Future Fusion, you can OTK quite easy, but if you guys want to send me replays of gameplay, feel free to do so at AzneyesReplays@gmail.com. But thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you in the next video. Have a good one, and I'm signing out. Peace.